Obsession is written and directed by Curry Barker, and it tells a story of Bear, a young man who wants to express his feelings to his close friend Nikki. And when he fumbles to ask her out, he ends up using what was meant to be a gag gift to her, that being the One Wish Willow. He wishes for Nikki to be madly in love with him, he breaks it, and it comes about with unexpected and horrifying consequences. I loved Obsession. I saw this film twice within the past week, and I loved it way more on my second watch. On my first watch, I thought it felt just a tad too slow, but the film flows by so much more smoothly on this second watch that I have, and I love this film, and it's one of my favorites of this year. So, what are my favorite aspects of this film? I think the lighting is my favorite aspect of the film. The cinematographer is Taylor Clemens, and him, along with Curry Barker, have created a fantastic looking film where the use of shadows is so damn important to this film, where it obscures characters, their faces, and their entire body, and it's meant to make you think that you're not sure what you're looking at. Is it human? Is it not? And you're not able to read facial expressions most of the time when you see these characters obscured in shadows, and it's brilliant. I think outside of the use of shadows, I think the film just looks incredible on its own. This film apparently had a budget less than $1 million, somewhere around the 700,000 mark, and it looks damn good. And I think the cinematography in this film is stunning. I think every filmmaking aspect is incredible in this film, from the sound design to the directing, the editing. It's all incredible. And I want to point out the score real quick, that being from Rock Burwell. The music in this film is both ethereal and haunting. It makes you feel as if you're in a sort of dreamlike moment because of the relationship aspect of this film, along with the drama that's going on and how it's such an absurd concept, as well as the score getting into the more dramatic and horror moments that the film has. It's such a damn interesting and unique score. It's less than an hour on Spotify. I gave it a listen to the other day. It's very effective in the film, both the romantic and the horror aspects. The horror aspects is more so like droning sounds, but it works really well. It does a lot of the not heavy lifting, but it amplifies these intense horror moments a lot more. One thing I want to point out is that this film is also, I would call this film a comedy as well as a horror and a drama and a sort of romance story. And it does bring up an interesting concept involving romance and love. I'll get to that in a bit later. But the film is very funny, and I was laughing at these jokes on my second watch just as I was in my first watch. And Barker comes from a YouTube background, so I'm sure he has some comedy stuff that he's done before, and I'm very interested in checking out what he has done before, and I'm very intrigued with what he is going to be working on in the future. Apparently, he's doing a Texas Chainsaw movie of the sorts. I've never seen Texas Chainsaw before, but I'll sit down and watch whatever this guy makes. I thought this was incredible. I'm going to point out something that I heard the other day. Someone had said that it reminded them of Hereditary, that being these moments of characters being obscured in the background and you're not sure if what you're looking at is actually there or not. And there's a lot of intentional choices made in the film where there's a little shadowy figure in the background. Some of them are, what you think they are, and some of them aren't. They're just things in the background that looks like it could be a monster or someone hiding in the background. And I think those were very intentional choices that were incredible. I also want to point out the production design of this film. More specifically, when we're in the vehicles, there's a few instances of characters in cars, and the windows look like they had a bunch of handprints and scuffs on them and whatnot. It just made it feel more like these characters are actually driving in a vehicle and not that they were on a set and just having someone with a piece of plywood pushing the car up and down, making it seem like that they're driving and whatnot with screens behind them and in front of them, yada yada. I actually felt like we were in a moving vehicle, and I'm sure that's what the case was, but I just like the aspect of the vehicles and the windows having like these scuffs on them, handprints and whatnot. Yeah, and just outside of that, it's a good looking film. A lot of details in the production. I don't know what more I can say without getting into so much spoiler stuff. Do I want to get into spoilers? Yeah, I saw this for a second time. I tried to make this review the other day, and I just kept going on and on of weird tangents. But since I have seen it a second time and I have more of a clear focus on it, I want to get into spoilers soon. But I just want to talk about a few more things first. The cast all around does a great job with the acting. Michael Johnson as Bear is great, but the obvious standout that everyone is praising in this film is that of Ind Navarette, who plays Nikki. She is able to turn it on and off throughout the film, whether she needs to act normal and then something switches in her and then she goes ballistic, nuts, and crazy. She's able to portray all these different personalities, just like that. It feels so smooth, and nothing about her performance feels off at all. I thought she was stunning, and I really want to see more of this actress in future projects. And I really hope she gets a Best Actress nom because I thought she was that damn stunning. I don't think I'm going to see a performance this year better than this. I've been telling everyone that I can to go see this movie. When I first watched it, it was probably around the 40 million mark worldwide, and now it's well over 100 million. I think it's at about 150 million worldwide, and that's incredible for a film shot for under $1 million. It's making headlines. I'm so happy for the success of this film, and I want to see more from this director, from Ind, from everyone who worked on this film. I want to see much more from this. It's a unique concept, and it's quite chilling and scary. I was never scared, from like scary faces or monsters or whatever. I'm not saying that that kind of stuff is in this movie, but I'm saying like from other films I wasn't scared like that. It has a very unsettling and creepy atmosphere though. I really don't know what scares me in movies, on a surface level outside of like monster stuff or whatever. But the implied horror in this film, I'll get into that in the spoiler section. The implied horror is so much more terrifying than what is actually shown on screen, and what's shown on screen is quite haunting and chilling and spooky and scary. It's what I wanted out of a scary movie. I went to see Backrooms yesterday, and I was planning to see Obsession again after that, but I was so disappointed with Backrooms that I decided, I needed to watch Obsession again. I was thinking about going home, but I said no. I need a palate cleanser of something actually spooky and scary. So Obsession, totally hit that nail for me for what I wanted out of a horror film. Unsettling atmospheres where everything comes together to make a scary movie. And like I said, I wasn't scared, but everything came together to create this unsettling, experience. I want to talk about our main character, Bear, for a bit. He's this sort of closed off guy who doesn't really know how to express his emotions and whatnot to the people around him, or more specifically to Nikki. And the choices that he makes in this film, you can understand. You don't have to sympathize with him, but you can understand why he does these things, why he made the wish, and why he's both fearful of what the wish brought upon, as well as fearful of losing this love that he wished to have. You can understand everything, every angle that is coming from, and you can feel sorry for him. You can feel sympathy for him, and you can understand where he's coming from. He may not be a good person after a while, but you can understand where he's coming from, and I think that's excellent writing right there. Being able to both sympathize and understand where a character's coming from, why they make these decisions. And they're not stupid decisions like, oh, I'm a dumb horror character, I'm gonna do this stupid thing. You understand why these characters do the things that they do. And I think that's about it in terms of non-spoiler stuff. I want to get into spoilers right away because there's a lot I really want to talk about. So if you want to get to the end of this review and my grading, just click to the timestamp right here. That is your warning. Spoilers for Obsession. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So with the wish that Bear made, he wishes for Nikki to be in love with him more than anyone in the world. And that instantly changes Nikki. she becomes obsessed with Bear. But there's also Bear being obsessed with this relationship that's happening. He doesn't want to let go of Nikki despite all of the weird stuff that she does for multiple reasons. One, he comes to find out that in order for the wish to be broken, he calls a number for the company that made the One Wish Willow. He asks, "Can I alter the wish?" And they say, "No, you can't." "Okay, can I cancel the wish?" Then the guy on the phone says, "Do you want to cancel?" "Yeah." "Sorry, we don't do that here." And it's just another layer of comedy in a pretty intense and chilling moment. They're able to write in comedy there, without disturbing the tone of the scene. That's great writing right there. Um, and on the phone, Bear is asking, she's doing all this weird stuff. She's fine one minute, then she's crazy the next. And he goes, is it real? Is the love real? The guy on the phone then says, "It's as real as you want to believe it to be." And he goes, "Well, it just doesn't feel real." The guy on the phone that says, "Do you want to speak to her?" Because Bear asks, "Is it really her? Is it really Nikki?" Then on the phone, the guy says, "Do you want to speak to Nikki?" And then you hear Nikki screaming her ass off in pain and horror. And that's what I meant before when I said the implied horror. Because we don't see Nikki being tortured in hell or something. We just hear her screams. And Nikki isn't in this body 24/7 in her actual physical body that is inhabited by this entity that Bear wished for. Bear wishing for Nikki to be in love with him. That's not actual Nikki. That's just the wish Nikki. And wish Nikki is madly obsessed with him and does all these weird things. She tapes the door shut with I don't know how many rolls of duct tape she used to seal off the door so Bear can't leave. When Bear leaves, she stands in place waiting for Bear to come back and pisses herself and throws up and everything because as time goes on, either real Nikki isn't there or she's losing control, and Wish Nikki just becomes this vessel that only serves to satisfy Bear. And over time, Bear questions, does she really love me? Does she even like me? And it's such a damn interesting concept, and I think they take it to really far extents as much as they could. One of the first moments we see in the film is that of Bear coming home and seeing that his cat Sandy had died. Sandy got into his sleeping pills, and that's how Sandy died, by just eating all the sleeping pills. So we see Bear being a sort of, I don't want to say unwell, but he of course has some problems. That's why he needs this medication. He had said that he had no one when he moved to that area, and he only had Nikki until he got those other friends. Nikki was always there for him, so that's why he has feelings for Nikki. The pills being there is a great setup for the very end of the film. I'll get to that later. But the cat is very important in this film because after the first night, the first morning after Bear made the wish, after he drops Nikki off, after he fumbles asking her out, Nikki starts to become obsessed with him, starts to, I want to go home with you. I don't want to go into my house. My dad has cancer. It comes about that she's lying about that because she's so in love with Bear that she'll do anything to be with him. And the first morning after Bear makes the wish, after Nikki starts acting weird, kissing Bear and then freaking out that, "Oh, I thought I saw something." That's Nikki coming through and, still having control of her body, but still being controlled by this entity. Anyways, the first morning after, Bear walks over to the kitchen, sees that she made breakfast, but also he sees that Nikki made a memorial for the cat. She took the cat out of the bag that Bear put it in and is saying, "Oh, I thought you'd like this. This is supposed to be good. It's a memorial for the cat." It's one of the first things that Bear thinks, okay, shit isn't right because, first she started freaking out the night before, and now she took the cat out of the bag and made a memorial for it. Then later on down the film, after more weird, freaky shit happens, Bear's eating lunch, and his friend Sarah, we'll talk about Sarah in a bit, notices that there's a sticky note on his a Tupperware for the sandwich that Nikki made that says, to my little food critic, what's the verdict? Cat. And in that instance, in both of my screenings, that's why I love seeing movies in a theater with people, and you can hear everyone react to the same thing as it meant to be. It wouldn't have felt as impactful watching it by yourself at home than in a theater. Anyways, the entire theater went, "What the fuck? No, what?" Bear looks at his sandwich and sees the fucking cat meat in it. Nikki chopped up his fucking dead cat. I don't know how many weeks it's been or how many days it's been. She chopped up the cat and put it in his fucking sandwich. And Bear didn't notice until Sarah pointed it out. Fucking insane shit right there. Just it's so good. That unexpected shit is what I want in these movies. Let's talk about Sarah and the whole friend group. So there's Bear and Nikki, and there's Ian and Sarah. Ian starts to become skeptical as to why Nikki is hanging out so much with Bear, and it turns out that they were casually hooking up on and off over the years. And it's weird because Ian is telling Bear, yeah, if you want to ask her out, just go for it, you know? But also it becomes revealed that in the past, Nikki was basically friend zoning Bear. So it seems like Ian's kind of an ass for even, letting that possibly even happen, But also, I mean, Ian's just a cool guy outside of that, just being supportive enough. But, knowing that, it's just kind of weird. Sarah, they all four of these characters, they're close friends, and they work at Sarah's father's music shop, right? And Sarah wants to go to college to be a tattoo artist. Nikki wants to be a writer. Ian just wants to do trivia night, and Bear doesn't know what he wants to do. That's why the food critic thing comes up, because he says, oh, maybe I could be a food critic. But anyways, Sarah wants to go to tattoo school, but Sarah wants to go to college so she can be a tattoo artist, and she keeps getting rejected. But it comes out that Sarah has a crush on Bear, and it's shown pretty early on in the film. It's told to us early on in the film, as Bear is struggling to ask out Sarah. And as time goes on, Sarah and Bear start to get a little closer, and then it comes to a very unexpected, awesome, but horrifying scene where after a hangout session where Nikki goes all fucking ballistic and starts hitting herself in the head with a broken bottle, it comes to at night, Bear and Nikki, questioning Bear questioning, their relationship, this fake relationship. Sarah asks Bear to meet her at the park, and if he doesn't go, then she'll go to the house. Before I get to the Sarah stuff, just a few more things. Bear leaves, and then Nikki says, Bear, please kill me. It's actual Nikki talking, because the entity, the Wish Nikki, is asleep. And Nikki is like, please kill me, And this is after Bear finds out that to break the curse, to break the wish, he has to either kill himself or Nikki has to die. And that's how the wish is broken. And so you understand why Bear wants to keep this going on, because he wants to be in this relationship. He wants to feel love. And hopefully because he had the good times with Wish Nikki, but he doesn't want to die. So there's that dilemma. He wants this relationship, even if it's fake, he wants to feel that love, the good times that they had. He doesn't want the weird shit going on, but he doesn't want to die. So it's believable and it's understandable. And Nikki's begging for death, and she's begging for it, and that's horrifying on its own, because we don't know the hell that Nikki is in when she is not in that body, when it's Wish Nikki hosting it. And then it comes the question, is it so bad being with me that you want to die? And Nikki is saying, I was never with you, I'm not yours. And then Bear just leaves to go talk with Sarah. Wow, it's just a chilling moment, and that's what I want in a horror film. Just these chilling, unnerving, uncomfortable moments. And one thing I don't think a lot of people have pointed out in the film is when they're at the hangout sesh that Ian doesn't want Nikki at initially, but Nikki manipulates her way into getting there. They play like this Jenga game where they pull a piece and they do whatever it says on the piece. And Nikki wants to be a writer, but when she pulls the block, she doesn't read out loud what the block says. Instead, she tells a story about like a weird, fucked up incest version of Hansel and Gretel. But something she says was, "You'll no one can ever feel a love like this." Something about the branch of a willow tree. I just think it's interesting how the One Wish Willow, same name, everything. It's a little stick that you break. So I just thought it was like a nice, interesting little detail that the only reason that the love is there is because of the branch of the willow tree. Just a small little detail in that story that Wish Nikki told. I don't think anyone's mentioned it before, not that I've heard of from posts I've seen and whatnot, but I just think it's a nice little writing detail. Okay, back to Sarah. Sort of feelings get revealed as they're in the car. Sarah tells Bear, "Oh, it's kind of fucked up that Nikki's stringing you along like this," and she used to hook up with Ian over the years, and we see a shot of Ian looking like disgusted at Bear and Nikki, and at first you're not wondering why. But then on my second watch, I caught that. I go, "Oh, fuck. Okay, that's why." you know? And she says, "Hey, I have the letter. Let's open it together." The letter from the last college. And earlier in the film, it was revealed that Sarah's dad keeps a gun at the job, at the music shop. So I'm thinking, okay, someone's going to get shot with this gun. And in this moment, it's Bear and Sarah in the car. I'm thinking, oh, fuck. Nikki's going to get the gun and shoot Sarah. No, something even more fucked up happens. Sarah breaks the fucking window, Nikki breaks the fucking window of the car, grabs Sarah's head, and smashes it against a brick against the fucking steering wheel. Violent, gruesome, bloody, fucked up. I felt so fucking bad for Sarah because she did nothing wrong, but it was just so fucking cool to see because how fucked up it was. And it's just incredible gore and makeup work right there. Oh my god. Her face was caved in, and all that was left were her fucking teeth and her fucking eye. Oh my god, it was so fucked up. But I loved it. And seeing people react to it on the second watch, because this movie's been out for just over 2 weeks, but seeing people react to that again was incredible. And yeah, I just feel bad for Sarah because she did nothing wrong. It's so fucked up. She did nothing wrong, and she did nothing to deserve this. And it's all Bear's fault. And Nikki even emphasizes it, that it's all your fault, Bear. Oh, fuck. It's so fucked up. So after the death of Sarah and Nikki and Bear hiding the body, Bear opens a letter and finds out that Sarah got accepted to this last college that she applied to. And, the only one that accepted her. Just a really fucked up scene. He then returns to the shop where he bought the One Wish Willow, and he was only at the shop because while he was on a call with Nikki says she dropped her necklace down the drain. So Bear wanted to buy one for Nikki. Also, just another note, while they're at a dinner when Bear finds out that Nikki lied about her dad having cancer, she gives him a tiger's eye, I think, and says, "Oh, it's for you to have confidence," right? It comes up at the very end of the film, the tiger's eye. What was I getting to? Yeah, Bear returns to the shop where he found the One Wish Willows, and he's freaking out, saying, "Where are the One Wish Willows? I can't find them. They're over there." And it's a funny ass moment of the guy going, "Dude, I don't know what you're talking about." And he goes, "Don't come here with this energy and shit. Also, they're right there. I was fucking with you." I don't get how this film could be so fucking funny and horrifying at the same time. He tells Bear, "Yeah, you fucked up, but also, the only way to break the wish is to have someone else make a wish that contradicts your wish." So he tries to ask Ian, "Hey, can you make a wish that says I never made a wish?" But Ian's not believing him. He's saying he's full of shit. And then he's saying, "Oh, Sarah's texting me go to your place," but it's Nikki texting Ian. And so Ian doesn't believe him and says, "I wish I had $1 billion." He breaks it, and then fucking $1 billion starts raining from the ceiling. Just so fucking funny. But it leads to this weird moment where and I'm sure this is just like a weird rewrite issue or a reshooting issue, where as Bear goes back home to see Nikki and all the fucked up shit she's doing. I'll get to that in a very quick second. Ian knocks on the door. He goes, Bear, open up! I got $1 billion. So I'm sure there's like a weird rewrite issue or a weird reshoot issue because we know that Bear knows that Ian got $1 billion. So it's just weird that he goes over, just a weird little moment. It doesn't take me out of the film. It's just like a sort of weird little like, okay, I guess. Bear goes home and he sees like this weird, like, not a memorial. He sees like this weird, God, what's it, like a shrine. He sees this weird shrine that Nikki built for both of them, as well as this clip playing on the TV of Bear asleep, of Nikki recording him. It's so fucking weird. It just goes to show this further obsession. Bear then sees Sarah's dead body without her shirt on, and then we see Nikki with Sarah's shirt on, and she tattoos herself to look like Sarah, and she puts makeup on her face to look like Sarah, and it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up, but it's so fucking just disturbing and rad to see. Ian comes in. Oh, before Ian comes in, it's this cool fucking moment where she's basically saying, why don't you love me as much as I love you? Why don't you love me at all? She then has the gun and she's saying, I will fucking gouge my eyes out and put the fucking gun up my pussy and shoot. And then she screams Bear, but as she screams Bear, it's like a part of the score kicking in, like this droning, like loud droning sound. I just thought it was so fucking cool. Just like a cool non-diegetic sound, to further emphasize this cool horror going on in this movie. Just, it adds more to the unsettling nature of this film. Ian comes in, and then Nikki shoots Ian, and then you see that Bear has one more One Wish Willow left. He then goes to the bathroom saying, oh, I'm just going to clean up for a bit. And he brings out the tiger's eye. He's trying to figure out how to shoot himself. And then he says, okay, I'm going to take these sleeping pills. Just a very interesting use of the Chekhov's gun. That being, if you introduce a gun in the first act, it is expected that it should be fired in the third act. And in this instance, yeah, a gun was brought up, but that's not what it actually is in this film. The Chekhov's gun is actually the sleeping pills. It was introduced way before the gun was introduced. And so I thought that was just a cool little unexpected way to see Bear go out. Not just yet, though, because he's taking the sleeping pills, and while he's doing that, Nikki is saying, hey, I think we should break up, or maybe we should spend some time apart. I think it's good for the relationship. And all the while, Bear is taking the sleeping pills. He's getting ready to die. And then at the very last second, you hear the jingle from the One Wish Willow box that plays when you take the stick out. And then he goes to throw up. He's going to force himself to throw up because he doesn't want to die, right? He knows all the fucked up shit that happened, but he just doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to die. So he is becoming the more obsessed one than Nikki is, because he's obsessed with this fake relationship. He just wants to feel love in general. But then you hear the willow snap, and then Bear stands up and goes to Nikki. It's assumed that Nikki made the wish that Bear loves Nikki, just as much as Nikki loves Bear. But then it brings up another interesting point, because then Bear dies, and then Nikki wakes up before she attempts to shoot herself, and then sees everything, all the fuckery that just happened. What I find interesting about this is that you can think about it a few ways. That being, either the Wish Bear didn't realize he took the sleeping pills and then just dies, or Bear is still there and doesn't make himself throw up because he's starting to feel that love towards Nikki and thinking, okay, I love Nikki so much that I'm gonna not throw up and die so I can let Nikki be free from the curse. So you can look at that in a few different ways. I just think it's a brilliant ending Nikki screams as the song plays over the credits, and it's fucking horrifying and rad and just gruesome. So, I loved Obsession. I saw it twice. I'm fighting the urge to see it for a third time. I have not seen a brand new movie in a theater 3 times, and I just might do it for Obsession. It looks great. It's excellently made. The pacing felt so much better for me on the second watch. I thought it was slow at first, but on the second watch, I just loved it, and I fell in love with this film. I think it's absolutely stunning and incredible, and I think I'm going to love it more and more on every subsequent watch. The acting was great, especially from Ind Navarette, and I think she's going to do some amazing shit in the future. And I'm excited to see what Curry Barker does next. I am so fucking pumped to see his next project coming out. I will be there for it. Just like I'm feeling the same way that I did watching Ari Aster horror films. I'm so fucking excited to see what this director does next, and I'm so happy that this film is as successful as it is. I went to my second screening. Mind you, it's been out for just over 2 weeks, and I was trying to find tickets, and it was almost sold out in at like 5 in the afternoon or something like that on a Saturday. And just, of course, like the whole row to my left was supposed to be filled. It wasn't, but people bought tickets for it anyways. Maybe they just got the wrong time or whatever. Anyways, I loved this film, and I'm so happy for the success that it has, and I'm very much fighting the urge to see it for a third time. It looks great, great score, fantastic acting. It's an incredibly well-made film all around, and it's incredible that it's doing circles around bigger Hollywood films. I'm giving Obsession an A, and I feel that I'm going to love this even more and more on subsequent watches. On my first watch, I gave it a 4 star in Letterboxd, the B plus, because I felt the pacing was a little off for me, and I felt like, okay, just please get to this, just please get to it quicker. But on this second watch, I loved it way more. I loved it my first watch, but I'm way more in love with it. You could say that I am obsessed. Okay, so that was Obsession. What did you think about the film? It's doing its rounds. It's almost at 200 million in the box office, I think, and I think that's incredible. It's absolutely incredible for a young filmmaker. He's 26 years old, and it's definitely sparking that fire in me to write and make something of my own. So anyways, have you seen Obsession? What did you think about it? Did you love it or did you not like it? Tell me what you thought about it in the comments below, and I'll be back with more enjoyable content like this. I will have reviews up for Backrooms, Mandalorian and Grogu, I Love Boosters, and I think that's it. Okay, so yeah, bye.